Hey guys, this is my new studio for shooting things. So I've just given it a lick of paint and I've just got it all set up so I can record videos in there, because where I used to record before was my home theatre room and had lights and rubbish and everything in there, and it just really got in the way if I ever wanted to watch a movie. So what I've done is I fixed up this room, which has now become available because one of my sons moved out, and I've got it all looking good. What do you guys think? Bit of a different look. Anyway, so let's get into the topic of discussion today. And what Shimano have done, they're rebadging their lower end group sets. That's the ones below 105. And those group sets are going to be called CUES, like when you play pool. So I don't know if that's a bit confusing to people, because if you just saw CUES, you would probably think one of those sticks you use for playing either pool or snooker or something like that. I don't know, but the acronym does mean something. I can't remember offhand, but that's where they've got that name from. But I do think that this whole new rebadging or remarketing of the lower end products, it has a few issues as a product, and it also has a few issues, I think, as the marketing. So let's roll an intro and let's have a bit of discussion about this CUES and what it's offering. Shimano have now got all of the group sets underneath 105, which is like your Tiagra and your Claris and all of those, and they've bundled them or packaged them into one ecosystem called CUES. And what's going to be good about that ecosystem is all of those parts will be compatible with each other, so they can swap them out for each other, which is on an ecosystem is great. But there is a big negative, and the big negative is that it's not backwards compatible with the group sets that they've been selling currently. So all of your ones like Tiagra and Claris and all that, the pull ratio is different, so you can't upgrade to this new CUES system if you want to do it bit by bit. You have to go all in and buy the whole new group set, which I think is a bit of a marketing mistake. And I wouldn't say it's a marketing mistake normally, but because we have a downturn in the industry and people are becoming a little bit tight about spending their money, then big outlays are going to become quite a negative. And that's what Shimano is asking their purchasers to do. They're saying, hey, look, guys, if you want to upgrade, then you need to put your hand in your pocket and put it in your pocket deep, and you need to pull out the money to get into this new ecosystem. And then I'm not too sure if it's actually compatible with the more pro ones like your 105 and upwards. So that's one thing. I think that the timing of bringing this out is probably not the best. If it was done in a more booming type environment, which we had with COVID, or let's just say we'd come out of this recession, people were spending money again, and you changed your branding, I think that would be more, it would sell better, it would work better in that sort of environment. When you're having a downturn, and the bicycle industry has a lot of competition now with the e-bikes, which these would probably work on, but the e-bikes I think are going to be going more to internal hubs. That's where I see it, because chains and derailleurs are more higher maintenance. But anyway, that's just the future that I think is going to happen. But at the end of the day, they still are compatible on e-bikes. But when you have a downturn, people tend to tighten up their pockets. They tend to not spend money. They tend to hold on to their money more. So even if they do spend, they're not going to want to be spending big. So, because I know a lot of people, they go, oh, we'll get some new, I'll update the cassette or the derailleur, or upgrade the shifters and so forth. Now, currently this CUES is only available in a flat bar bicycle, but the prediction is that it's going to come to the drop handle bikes as well, because why would you have two? It just doesn't make any sense as far as a production type logic. You would want to be making the same product and all you would want to do is just change the brake shifter item so you are making less product. So I think that's going to be coming. Now, what I think Shimano should have done in this environment we're moving into now, this downturn, is what people normally do, what companies normally do in a recession. What they do is they trim the fat, they knuckle down, and they basically focus on what they do best. And I think this elitist type view that these bicycle manufacturers have at the moment is not going to work for them very well when we're going into a recession and bicycles have a lot of competition. As I said, people are shifting to these electric powered vehicles like skateboards and scooters and e-bikes. And I do think that your standard group set are going to basically die in the e-bike system. If you have it all in the hub, it's all enclosed, and you just have a belt, I think that in the e-bike market, which are not people who are enthusiasts, are going to want those sort of products more. But anyway, that's just my opinion. But anyway, I would have just knuckled down, and I would have kept making the same product, and I would have kept my costs down and not retooled, and just keep doing what I know works. Like go down to the basics, because that's what companies do. They normally cut the fat, and anything that's not profitable, they get rid of it, and they just focus on their core business. And what they do then is they make sure that they reinforce that, and they've got enough staff to manage it, and that's how they get through these recessions, because then you can still produce a return for your shareholders. But what Shimano are doing here is they're rebadging, and I think that for people who are kind of into cycling but not really big into cycling, people associate the names with the quality of bikes, like 105, Ultegra, Durace, and they've been around for decades. And if you start changing the names like Tiagra and Claris and all that, people go, oh, what is this CUES? What is that? I don't know what that is. It doesn't have that, what would you call it, that branding name to draw them in. Like, if Gucci, or like, let's say Pinarello changing its name. It's like Italian brand, and they change it to, Italians or something like that. They just call it Italians, and people go, what's Italians? I've never heard of it. And they go, oh, but that's the old Pinarello. It doesn't do the brand any good. Anyway, guys, what do you think about Shimano moving to this new CUES system? I think that it's not such a bad idea making a system that is integrated and everything is cost compatible. That's great. And there's nothing wrong with calling it a different name. I don't know if CUES would have been the name. I probably would have called it something like maybe the Tiagra line or something like that, something that is recognizable. And then I would have put it all in that ecosystem, and I would have also done it not at this time. I would have done it when the industry was in a fairly healthy state. Anyway, guys, leave your comments down below. What do you think about Shimano doing this really big shift, especially in the lower cost, where obviously they sell a lot more equipment than they do in the upper? Do you really think that that's a good move for Shimano currently? Anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to leave it, and I will see you next vid.